Hello, chosen one. This message did not appear by accident, it was appointed for you. You are not here by chance. Heaven arranged this moment. There are only 30 seconds left before a divine verdict is revealed over your life, and the scroll bearing your name is being sealed before the throne of God. Even now, in realms beyond your sight, the atmosphere of heaven has shifted. Angels have paused their songs, for the Almighty has spoken your name aloud. Before him lies a record, your record filled with pages of perseverance, of unseen pain, of prayers whispered in the dark. And the Lord has leaned forward, his voice steady and sovereign, declaring, "The time of silence is over. The stillness you mistook for abandonment was never neglect. It was sacred preparation. Heaven was aligning your steps, refining your strength, and writing a chapter that could only be born through waiting. For so long you wondered, where was God when I cried? Why did he remain silent when I needed him most? But the truth, chosen one, is that his silence was not absence, it was construction. The hand of God was building something beneath the surface, and now the hour has come for revelation. C.S. Lewis once wrote in The Weight of Glory, "The load or weight or burden of my neighbor's glory should be laid on my back, a load so heavy that only humility can carry it. And so it is with you. The burden you carried was not punishment, but preparation. The weight of your trials has been shaping the capacity of your soul to carry the glory that is now being released. What once broke you has become the vessel that can hold heaven's fire. And now, in the great courtroom of eternity, the judge of heaven has spoken. The verdict echoes across time and creation. Enough, this one is mine. The scroll is sealed with light, and across your name is written not guilty, but redeemed. The case is closed not as an ending, but as a divine completion. So listen closely. This message is not a coincidence on your screen. It is the voice of heaven, reaching through time and technology to touch your heart. You are standing at the edge of transformation. The past cannot accuse you anymore, and the next chapter is already opening before you. Don't scroll away, chosen one. Stay in this moment, because heaven is speaking directly to you. The decree has gone forth, and what God has closed, no power can reopen. And now, I invite you share in the comments what part of this message stirred your heart the most. Let the world see how heaven still speaks, even in the silence. Chosen one. As heaven's silence breaks and the scroll bearing your name is sealed, understand this truth. The closing you just witnessed is not an ending, it is a divine verdict. The same voice that called your name in the heavenly court now declares completion over your past. What God has sealed cannot be reopened by human hands, nor undone by any power beneath the heavens. When the Lord said, "Your case is closed," he did not cast you aside. He vindicated you. The accusations that once echoed in the darkness have been overruled by his mercy. Every unseen struggle, every quiet endurance, every tear you offered in faith has stood as evidence before the throne. Heaven did not forget a single word you prayed. The long silence was not indifference. It was divine deliberation. For while you waited, heaven was preparing the moment of your release. God does not close a case to erase a life. He closes it to complete a work. The chapter that once caused your heart to ache has fulfilled its purpose. The pain that tested you has now become the testimony that crowns you. What was withheld has not been lost. It has been reserved for an appointed time. The doors that shut before you were not barriers. They were guardians keeping you from what was not yet ready. There is a sacred law in the kingdom. Before resurrection, there must first be burial. The stone that sealed the tomb was never the end. It was the sign that a new day was waiting just beyond. So it is with you. The closing of your case is not a dismissal. It is the signal that the divine story has reached the moment of unveiling. Heaven is not subtracting, it is shifting you from suffering to significance, from endurance to evidence. The word of the Lord affirms it in Isaiah 43 to 18:19. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Now it springs up. Do you not perceive it? This is that new thing. The old accusations are erased. The old battles are concluded. The old fears no longer hold legal right to your name. You stand now under the decree of grace. The hand that once tested you now lifts your head. The one who allowed the storm has spoken peace over the waters. Every verdict of heaven contains both a judgment and a release. The judgment has fallen upon the lies, upon the chains, upon the voices that sought to keep you bound. But the release has fallen upon you. The heavens have ruled in your favor. What men once said against you has been burned away in the fire of divine justice. Look again, chosen one. What you thought was over was only the turning of the page. The courtroom has emptied. The accuser has been silenced. The judge rises from his throne, and his voice carries across eternity. This one is free. This one is mine. Your case is closed, not because you failed, but because you were faithful, not because you were forgotten, but because you were found. The record of sorrow has been sealed, and the book of destiny lies open before you. The past is no longer under review. The future is now under grace. The gavel has struck, and heaven's decree stands unchallenged. Redeemed, restored, released. The verdict is final, and it bears your name. And then, chosen one, heaven opened before you like a scroll of fire. What was once hidden in mystery is now unveiled in light. You stand not in the halls of men, but within the courtroom of the Most High, where justice is not delayed and truth is not silenced. Around the throne stretch pillars of living flame, and before it flows a river of light brighter than the Sunday. The air itself trembles with worship as the judge of all creation takes his seat. A river of fire was flowing, coming out from before him. Thousands upon thousands attended him. 10,000 times 10,000 stood before him. The court was seated, and the books were opened. Daniel 7:10. This is the scene, chosen one, that has been waiting for you since the beginning. The books are opened, and within them lie the chronicles of every prayer you whispered, every injustice you endured, every sacrifice unseen by human eyes. Angels stand as witnesses, archangels as guards of truth. The enemy had gathered accusations, hoping to condemn, but when the scroll of your life was unrolled, grace spoke louder than guilt. Heaven's prosecutor spoke of your failures, but the advocate, the Lamb who was slain, rose to your defense. With wounds still radiant from Calvary, he declared before the Father, "This one is covered by my blood." At that moment, every charge collapsed, every voice of condemnation fell silent, and a holy stillness filled the court. The judge looked upon you, not through the lens of sin, but through the lens of redemption. The record of wrongs was consumed by mercy's fire. Where there had been shame, there now stood shining garments of righteousness. Where there had been fear, there now echoed songs of freedom. The verdict was not negotiated, it was decreed from eternity. This child is innocent, justified, restored. Understand this, chosen one. Divine justice is not vengeance, it is alignment. God does not balance scales as men do. He transforms them. The very pain that once accused you has become testimony in your favor. The same wounds that once weakened you now witness to your endurance. What the enemy meant for destruction has been rewritten as evidence of faith. In this courtroom, there is no appeal. The gavel of heaven does not tremble. The verdict is eternal and sealed by light. Angels record it in the book of life. Archangels proclaim it across the heavens. The voice of the Father resounds once more. This one is mine. Let no power touch what I have redeemed. Now the court adjourns, but not in silence. Trumpets sound not for punishment, but for proclamation. The judge rises, smiling over the child who endured the test. The advocate turns to you, his eyes burning with love, and whispers, "Go in peace, the case is finished." Thus, divine justice has been revealed, not to destroy, but to restore, not to condemn, but to crown. You walk out of the courtroom clothed in light, carrying the seal of heaven's approval. Every chain has fallen, every record erased. The King's decree follows you wherever you go, redeemed, remembered, reinstated. This is the justice of your God, perfect, holy, and irreversible. When the courtroom of heaven fell silent, and the verdict was sealed, a deeper mystery was revealed, chosen one, the reason for it all. God did not close your case because he grew weary of you. He closed it because his love had completed its work in you. The testing was never to break you, but to prove you. The silence was not absence, but the sound of divine craftsmanship shaping your soul in secret. For many seasons you walked through valleys that seemed endless. You endured betrayal that cut deeper than words could tell. You cried prayers that dissolved into the night with no echo of response. Yet through every tear, through every unanswered cry, love was working quietly, fiercely, faithfully. The fire that surrounded you was not punishment, it was purification. The waiting that burdened you was not neglect, it was preparation. Heaven watched as you continued to believe when reason said, "Stop," as you lifted your eyes when the weight of despair pressed you low. That persistence, that steady flame of faith, became the testimony that moved the heart of God. For in the kingdom, endurance is not weakness, it is proof of divine belonging. The word declares in James 1:12, "Blessed is the one who perseveres under trial, because having stood the test, that person will receive the crown of life that the Lord has promised to those who love him." This crown, chosen one, is not made of gold or jewels, it is woven from the threads of your endurance. Every hardship became a strand in that crown. Every no that heaven spoke was a step toward a greater, yes. Every closed door hid a room being prepared for you. Love was guarding what you could not yet hold. Understand this. Divine love is not gentle sentiment, it is consuming fire. It does not pamper, it purifies. It burns away what is lesser, so that what is eternal may remain. The reason your case was closed is that love reached its fulfillment. The furnace finished its work, and the soul that once trembled in fear now stands fortified in faith. Your endurance became evidence. The court of heaven did not simply hear your prayers, it watched your perseverance. When you could have abandoned hope, you chose to believe. When you could have cursed the pain, you chose to worship. And in that choice, the heart of the Father was satisfied. Therefore, the decree was issued. Enough. The testing is complete. The refining fire has accomplished what endless comfort never could. You have learned the rhythm of trust, the language of surrender, the posture of faith. The reason your case was closed is love, unrelenting, unstoppable, holy love. It refused to let you perish beneath your trials. It refused to let your faith die in the storm. It carried you through the fire until your soul shone like gold. Now heaven looks upon you not as the wounded, but as the proven. The seal upon your name is not pity, it is authority. For you have been tried and found faithful, and the love that refined you has now released you. The verdict stands forever, perfected through perseverance, preserved by love. When love had completed its refining work and endurance had proven your faith, heaven prepared to display the sign of your triumph. Out of the brilliance surrounding the throne came a surge of holy movement, the sound of armor, the shimmer of flame, the arrival of one whose very presence signals the enforcement of divine justice. It was Michael, the archangel of war, heaven's commander of victory. The same warrior who stood beside Daniel in the lion's den and battled the powers of darkness in ages past, now stands for you, chosen one. The scripture declares in Revelation 12:7-8, "Then war broke out in heaven. Michael and his angels fought against the dragon, and the dragon and his angels fought back. But he was not strong enough, and they lost their place in heaven." This is more than a story of the past, it is the pattern of heaven's justice. The same warfare that once shook the heavens now surrounds your destiny, and Michael has been dispatched to uphold the decree that sealed your freedom. When God declared your case closed, Michael drew his sword to enforce the verdict. Every spirit that sought to reopen what God had finished met the consuming edge of that blade. In the unseen realm, he moved like lightning through corridors of darkness, shattering chains and scattering those who whispered against you. He silenced the echoes of accusation and guarded the threshold of your promise. His sword blazed not merely as a weapon but as a symbol of divine finality, a fiery proclamation that what God has closed, no power shall reopen. Then heaven erupted, trumpets resounded, and angelic voices rose in celebration, for the decree had been executed and the accuser silenced. The place once marked by battle became a sanctuary of victory, and there you stood no longer the wounded, but the vindicated beneath the radiance of divine justice. Understand this, chosen one, Michael's coming is never casual. His appearance is heaven's assurance that the verdict is irreversible. Whenever he rises, it means the war has already been won. The same archangel who guarded the covenant of Israel now guards the covenant written over your life. As he sheathed his sword before the throne, its edge still glowed with your name, sealed in light. That flame will not fade. It is the mark of your defended promise. From this moment forward, darkness recognizes your protection. The enemy may plot, but he cannot prevail, for the commander of heaven's armies stands sentinel over your destiny. The decree remains eternal, upheld by divine strength and angelic power. The case is closed, the verdict is victory, and the battle belongs to the Lord. When the sword of Michael was lifted from the battlefield and the last echo of war faded into silence, a new sound began to rise, not the clash of conflict, but the harmony of restoration. Heaven shifted its posture from defense to release. The same throne that declared your vindication now opens its storehouses, and the fragrance of promise fills the air. The gavel of judgment has fallen, and what follows is not punishment, but provision. This, chosen one, is the dawn of your new season. The former battles have ended. The heavens are no longer in deliberation. The decree of victory has matured into a decree of overflow. Every prayer that once seemed unanswered, every seed sown in tears, is now being remembered in the courts of heaven. What was delayed is not denied, it was preserved for this appointed moment. The word declares, in Deuteronomy 28:12, "The Lord will open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to your land in its season, and to bless all the work of your hand." Now that season has come. The heavens that once felt silent are opening like doors of light. Rain is falling on every dry place in your life, on the ground of old dreams, on the soil of forgotten prayers. The Lord himself commands the blessing, and it cannot return void. The same hands that closed your wounds now open your windows of opportunity. Understand this, chosen one. Every divine closure carries within it a divine opening. The case was sealed so that the vault could be unlocked. The waiting you endured was heaven's way of aligning the moment, the place, and the purpose. You were not denied. You were being prepared to receive without losing. The delay was mercy guarding your inheritance until your faith was strong enough to carry it. Look around you, the shift is not coming. It has begun. The atmosphere around your life is changing. The things that resisted you now recognize your authority. Where doors once refused to move, they now open of their own accord. Where your name was overlooked, it is now being spoken in rooms of favor. What was withheld is returning in double measure. This is the rhythm of divine restoration. War ends in worship, and worship births reward. The heavens are singing over you because your alignment is complete. You no longer strive for what is yours. You simply stand and receive. For the season of struggle has yielded to the season of supply. Hear the whisper of the Spirit. What was locked is now loosed. What was barren will now bear fruit. What was small will now multiply. The decree has changed, chosen one. You have moved from defense to dominion, from survival to abundance. The reign of blessing has begun, and the fields of your destiny are ready for harvest. The old season has passed. The new has been written. The case is closed. The vault is open, and heaven's favor is now pouring over you. As the rain of blessing descends and heaven's vaults open, a greater mystery unfolds the revelation of identity. Every promise released to you, chosen one, flows from one truth. You bear the mark of divine ownership. You are not simply blessed, you are sealed. What heaven gives is not only favor, it is identity, stamped upon the soul with eternal fire. In the quiet chambers of the Spirit, you may not see it, yet all of heaven recognizes it. The light that surrounds you is not the reflection of success, it is the radiance of belonging. You have been marked by covenant, branded not with the scars of the past, but with the insignia of redemption. Angels see it and bow in recognition. Darkness sees it and retreats in fear. The word declares in Ephesians 1:13-14, when you believed, you were marked in him with a seal, the promised Holy Spirit, who is a deposit guaranteeing our inheritance until the redemption of those who are God's possession to the praise of his glory. That seal is upon you now. It is invisible to men but undeniable in the spirit realm. It whispers to heaven, this one belongs to the King. It speaks to the earth, this one carries divine authority. And it warns the darkness, touch not what has been consecrated. The seal of the Spirit is not an ornament. It is a declaration of divine protection and purpose. Many have mistaken your struggles as signs of rejection, but they were proofs of distinction. The refining you endured was the engraving of that mark upon your spirit. The pain carved depth, the endurance formed shape, the obedience ignited the fire that sealed your name into eternity. You do not carry this mark because of merit, but because of mercy. It was grace, not achievement, that branded your destiny with heaven's approval. And now, wherever you go, the atmosphere shifts. Blessings recognize you, doors open to you, the earth yields to you because it senses what is written upon your soul. You walk no longer as one seeking favor, but as one who is favor embodied. Every step you take leaves a trail of divine evidence that heaven's claim rests upon your life. This seal is not temporary, it is eternal. It cannot be broken by failure, erased by fear, or removed by time. It is the very Spirit of God within you, your signature in the kingdom, your identification in eternity. So walk with confidence, chosen one. Do not shrink before darkness or doubt your worth. You have been branded with the light of belonging, and that light cannot be hidden. When the enemy looks upon you, he does not see weakness. He sees the emblem of the Almighty blazing upon your heart. You are marked, sealed, and sent. Heaven knows your name. Earth feels your presence. Hell fears your calling. The mark of the chosen is upon you, and it will not fade. For what God has sealed, no hand can undo. You are his forever identified, forever protected, forever chosen. When the mark of heaven was placed upon your life, chosen one, a holy transaction was completed, the divine exchange. Everything that once caused you pain was transformed into the foundation of your purpose. Every tear became currency in the economy of grace. Every moment of loss was turned into an investment of glory, for God wastes nothing. In his kingdom, even pain has profit. You see now what you could not see before. The very suffering that seemed to crush you was the furnace that refined you. The long nights were classrooms of faith. The silence was the language through which heaven taught you endurance. The scars you carry are not signs of defeat, but the signature of transformation. They testify that grace has touched what once was broken. The word declares in Romans 8:18, I consider that our present sufferings are not worth comparing with the glory that will be revealed in us. That revelation is now unfolding in you. The scales of heaven have shifted sorrow for joy, despair for hope, ashes for beauty. The same hands that once allowed the flame now pour oil upon your head. The altar of pain has become the birthplace of power. You are walking proof that divine justice never ends in loss. It always ends in restoration. The divine exchange is the mystery of grace. God takes what man cannot bear and turns it into what angels cannot comprehend. Your heartbreak became a gateway to intimacy with him. Your disappointment became an invitation to deeper trust. Even your failures, when surrendered, became the soil where forgiveness grew into wisdom. What the enemy intended to destroy you with has become the very evidence that you cannot be defeated. Look closely. Chosen One, heaven is rewriting the record. The tears you shed in hidden places have been bottled as testimonies. The prayers you thought were forgotten have been reissued as promises. The years that were stolen are being repaid in double measure. You are standing in the aftermath of divine arithmetic, where pain subtracts but glory multiplies. This is the rhythm of redemption. First the breaking, then the blessing. First the cross, then the crown. The lamb you followed through the valley is now the lion who roars over your victory. Your wounds have become windows for his light to shine through. The very places where you bled are now the places through which others will be healed. Understand this deeply. You are no longer defined by what hurt you, but by what was birthed through it. The ashes have turned to crowns, the grief to grace, the weakness to worship. The trade has been made, and heaven has recorded the transaction. You have stepped into the law of divine exchange, where suffering is converted to strength and pain is transfigured into purpose. What once seemed the end has become the evidence that you were chosen not to be crushed, but to be crowned. For the decree stands unshaken. What was meant to break you has built you, and the glory that follows will outweigh every sorrow. And then, chosen one, the heavens themselves could no longer remain silent. The divine exchange was complete, the suffering redeemed, the verdict sealed, and now all creation rose to declare what God had finished in you. A sound unlike any other began to echo through eternity, the sound of the trumpet of heaven. It was not the call of war, but the proclamation of victory. Every note carried the announcement that the kingdom of darkness had lost its claim, and that your destiny had been fully restored. The seventh angel sounded his trumpet, and there were loud voices in heaven which said, "The kingdom of the world has become the kingdom of our Lord and of his Christ, and he shall reign forever and ever." Revelation 11:15. This is the sound that now fills the unseen realm, the anthem of fulfillment. Angels rise in ranks of glory, their wings shimmering with the light of completed prophecy. The throne of God glows brighter than before, and before it stands the Lamb bearing both scars and crowns. His eyes find you, chosen one, and in that gaze you understand the battle was never about destruction, but about revelation. God was not proving your weakness, he was revealing his strength through you. As the trumpet sounds, your name is spoken in heaven's chambers not as a plea for mercy, but as a proclamation of victory. The same angels who once guarded you in nights of fear now sing over you songs of completion. The courtroom that once echoed with accusation now reverberates with celebration. The scrolls of suffering have been replaced with scrolls of inheritance. Light bursts forth from the throne and wraps around your soul. You are no longer standing beneath judgment, but within glory. The radiance that touches you does not blind, it transforms. It fills the places once hollowed by pain and turns them into wells of power. The fire that once tested you now dances as your crown. Understand this, chosen one. The trumpet is not merely a sound in heaven, it is a shift in the earth. When heaven declares victory, creation responds, paths clear, doors open, and hearts awaken. The divine decree spoken over you reverberates into every realm of your existence. Favor aligns where there was resistance. Peace reigns where there was war. The angels bow, not in sorrow but in awe, for they have witnessed the mystery of grace fulfilled. They have seen a soul refined, a verdict upheld, a destiny crowned. Heaven and earth unite in one chorus. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain, for through his blood victory belongs to his chosen. The trumpet still resounds, not as a memory but as a living echo. It will follow you, chosen one, wherever you go, a reminder that your war is finished, your name is secured, and your crown is shining. The heavens have spoken, and the light has confirmed it. Your victory is eternal, your story redeemed, and your destiny glorified. As the sound of heaven's trumpet slowly faded and the brilliance of divine light settled upon the earth, a sacred stillness filled the air. It was not the silence of conclusion, but of continuation. For when God closes a case in heaven, he opens a legacy on earth. The verdict over your life, chosen one, was never meant to end with you. It was destined to flow through you, shaping generations yet unborn. Heaven's court has written the final decree, but the ink glows with a fire that moves beyond time. Every word of grace spoken over you now ripples through your bloodline. The redemption that touched your heart will reach into the hearts of those who will bear your name. The chains that bound your family have been shattered. The curses that stalked your lineage have been silenced. What began as your trial has become their freedom. The word of the Lord declares in Psalm 102:18, "Let this be written for a future generation, that a people not yet created may praise the Lord." Indeed, heaven's record of your endurance is now a prophecy for those who will follow. The prayers you whispered in the night have built unseen altars that your descendants will stand upon. The faith you held through fire has become the foundation of their favor. What you won through tears will become their inheritance of peace. Your obedience has altered eternity. Your perseverance has rewritten the story of your house. C.S. Lewis once wrote in Mere Christianity, "Every Christian is to become a little Christ. The whole purpose of becoming a Christian is simply nothing else." That truth now manifests in you. The Spirit of Christ that sustained you through your storms now moves through your lineage. You have become a living continuation of his nature, a vessel through which generations will encounter his likeness. Legacy, in heaven's eyes, is not what you leave behind, but what continues to live through you. The verdict that declared your freedom has become a covenant of continuity. The blessing that crowned your life has turned into an inheritance of light. Angels have recorded not just your victory, but its eternal effect, a divine chain reaction of restoration. Look, chosen one, the war you fought becomes the peace your children inherit. The tears you shed become the rivers from which they will drink. The faith that carried you will become the banner that carries them. For when God redeems a life, he redeems a lineage. When he crowns a soul, he consecrates a generation. And the Lord speaks again. This is not the end. It is the beginning of generations redeemed. As you have overcome, so shall those who come after you. My covenant shall not fade, and my promise shall not die. Now the court of heaven rests, not in silence but in song. The scrolls are sealed, the victory recorded, and your name shines among the redeemed, not just as one who endured, but as one through whom others will rise. The gavel has fallen for the final time, not in judgment but in joy. The case is closed, the crown is eternal, and your legacy has begun. If this message spoke to your spirit, take a moment to like, share, and leave a comment below. Let others know that God still redeems, restores, and writes new legacies through those who dare to believe.